Letters to a Future Nurse. Chapter 12, The Vast Endless Possibilities of Nursing by Dale Barzy Pond. Remember to take deep cleansing breaths. They strengthen, comfort and heal. When I first met him, he was 68 years old and a patient in the 40-bed rehab unit where I was the nurse manager. I had a routine of visiting each patient every morning. I did this for several reasons. 1, to try to deliver a personal touch to an institutional situation. 2, to greet new patients and in my mind put a face to the new names I saw on the morning report. 3, to say goodbye to anyone leaving that day before my day got too busy. One morning there he was, a new patient admitted the evening before with his malignant glioblastoma. Whenever I visited him in the mornings, we exchanged pleasantries and talked about anything. Politics, the weather, God, whatever was on his mind. I found him to be a kind, gentle, cooperative, grateful man. He was a well-known, well-respected person in his community. He was frequently visited by his members of his family, his church family, and his community in general. All conventional treatments had been unsuccessful. He was dying, and he knew it. His room was filled with family and friends on the day he died. It was his last day, and he knew that too. He asked to see nurses and aides who had taken care of him during his stay, and they said he expressed gratitude for the care he had received, and then he asked to see me. When I entered the room, he smiled and extended his hand towards me. I walked over to the bed and held his hand. His voice was weak and halting, and he said, "For those of you who do not know, this is Dale. She comes to see me every morning, and her smile lights up the room." I could see what an effort it was for him to speak. My eyes filled with tears, my heart broke, and that lump in my throat was so large I could not talk. I tried not to cry and failed miserably. Hot tears spilled from my eyes and rolled down my cheeks. He offered me comfort. "Do not cry. Take a breath," he said. "I am at peace." He took his last breath at 2:39 p.m, and I am grateful every day that our paths crossed, and I was grateful that granted the honour and the privilege of being present as he left this world. That was the day that I started paying attention to the calming, centering and rejuvenating effects of consciously taking deep breaths. Here is another story. Several years ago, I accepted a job as a nursing supervisor in a large long-term care facility. When I took the job, it was not exactly the position I was looking for, but it was convenient for my family. I had no way of knowing then how much I would learn on how important it would be to become in helping me to advance my career. In that job, I had the opportunity to learn about the challenges and logistics of taking care of bariatric patients and the extra time and energy that is required to meet their needs, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and to participate in the planning and opening of a bariatric unit. I also had the opportunity to open a brand new vent unit. When the Assistant Director of Quality Assurance resigned, I was offered her position. This position included the title of Staff Development Coordinator. This was a big deal because I was a facility with over 800 employees, and I had no experience in either quality assurance or staff development. What was evident was that someone recognised my potential and that I was open to pursuing the opportunity. This opened many doors for me. I gained experience in public speaking, preparing lesson plans for adult learners, and had close interaction with government agencies such as the Department of Health, the local fire department, and other corporate and community agencies. I say all this to encourage you to look beyond the immediate scope of your current position to the larger possibilities it might offer. This profession will constantly challenge your comfort zone. Dear future nurse, I am so glad that you're here and so proud of you for choosing nursing as a profession. Although I'm not entirely sure that we choose nursing, I'm inclined to think it chooses us. We are an exceptional breed. When we think of nurses, we think of people who care for us, mostly in physical and temporal ways, but nurses are so much more than that. Nurses are a multifaceted breed. We are intelligent, curious, empathic, strong, humorous, innovative, patient, informative, compassionate, gracious, resilient, ambitious, creative, resourceful, and humanistic, among other things. Your choice of becoming a nurse tells you that you have each of these qualities and more. Research has shown that nurses are the most trusted people in healthcare. What that means is that in the eyes of those we serve, we stand at the top of the podium. That is huge. My parents encouraged me to reach for the stars when I was a child. They told me that the sky was the limit. Here we are in the 21st century, and I know that the sky is not the limit. We live in an ever-expanding universe. The same is true of the nursing profession. There is no limit to the opportunities available to you. Nurses are working in every industry and profession that you can think of. Nurses are advocates, entrepreneurs, educators, researchers, counsellors, managers, authors, mentors, advisors, listeners, comforters, and more. We can be found in hospitals, schools, colleges and universities, the coroner's office, the legal profession, as consultants on movie sets, in the military, as flight nurses, in the aesthetics industry, in the hydration industry, in insurance, in the hospitality industry, in occupational health, in journalism, and the list goes on and on. Not every niche will suit every nurse, but there is a niche for every nurse. You will interact with people of many different cultures, customs, and beliefs as a nurse. Embrace it all. It enhances your ability to understand and empathize with others, and this is an invaluable skill. On this journey, you will have days where you feel rewarded, gratified, important, and powerful. Those are the great days. You will leave work feeling exhilarated, satisfied, and proud of the difference you made in someone's life. You will also have days where you feel scared, overwhelmed, inadequate, frustrated, small, and grief-stricken. You will feel weak and exasperated. You will be hungry because you are too busy to eat. You will be short-tempered because you are tired. You will feel like you have nothing left to give. On those days, I want you to remember who you are. You are a nurse, with all the qualities listed above. At the beginning of this chapter, I asked you to remember to take deep cleansing breaths. I give you that advice because I found that simple technique helps me in more ways than I ever thought possible. Breathe when you are happy and feel competent and accomplished, when the enormity of the patient or family member's gratitude moves you, when you feel overwhelmed. Breathe when you are busy. Breathe when you're tired, when you are sad, and most of all, breathe when you are angry. And sometimes you will be. Breathe when you feel helpless. This is easy to say, but not that easy to do. It takes practice, but you can do it. When you have to move from one situation to another, one patient to another, one family to another, one colleague to another, try to take 10 seconds to breathe consciously. At the end of your workday, try to leave the problems and situations there. Let me share with you one of my coping mechanisms. I realised early on in my career that I was getting so involved that I didn't seem to know how to leave the problems of work at work. I learned to utilise the locker room as a way to cope with this. I would not leave home in scrubs or uniform. I would take that with me to work and change there. By the same token, at the end of the day, I would change before going home. That would include a change of clothes, jewellery, perfume, and even hairstyle at times. I would not go into a supermarket or department store wearing work clothes. This practice helped me to separate work and private life. Find a routine that works for you. Very few nurses know the area they want to specialise in at the beginning of their careers. Fortunately, there are many avenues to explore. You are never stuck. Embrace opportunities. There are many to be had. Don't be afraid to ask questions and never become complacent or stop learning. Nursing is a constantly evolving profession, and you can ride the waves. You have what it takes. Walk tall. Step out into confidence. Enjoy the ride. In all of this, take care of others, advancing, chasing your dreams, watching for the stars. Do not neglect yourself. You must take care of yourself. Self-care is extremely important. Identify what self-care means to you and do it. Believe me, if you do not take care of yourself, you will not be able to care for others for long. Don't just coast along. Make a deliberate effort to see you and to take care of you. Allow yourself to feel. Your emotions are important too. You do not have to be stoic. Do the things that replenish you physically, emotionally, mentally and spiritually. You will be a better nurse for it. Dear future nurse, I am so glad that you are here and so happy that you have chosen this profession. You are here to make a difference. Here's wishing you success beyond your wildest dreams. And Dale's practical tip is identify what self-care means to you and do it. Be intentional and consistent about it. It is of utmost importance. So Dale is a registered nurse and midwife of greater than 45 years. She is married to her teenage love for 41 years, and together they have 3 children and 3 grandchildren. Dale has worked in the United Kingdom, the Caribbean and the USA, all of which have provided her with wide and varied experiences. She is currently the host and curator of the YouTube channel Nurse Talking, where connects and has conversations with nurses around the world. Dale can be reached at nursetalking@gmail.com. Thank you, Dale.